everyone. So this is my bottle hook, and it's a bottle opener that I designed and I have patented. And we've done a couple of videos. We've done one video on this. We just relaunched our third version, which is this one. We've done a video on the patents, and we got a lot of comments and questions asking, well, do you even need a patent, or are people going to copy them? And the answer is yes, they got copied a lot. So what I've done over the last month, a couple people sent me links to copies of these that are out. I don't know if they're freshly made or if they've been selling them for a while, because we've been selling this for like 8 or 9 years now. But what I do every time someone tells me that someone's copying the bottle hook is I buy one, because I want to see what it's like. And they're always cheaper than what we sell them for, which you'll see there's a reason for it. But I figured today we would review some of them. So let's start with this one, because this is the one that I got like last week in the mail. And this one's kind of interesting. So it has a little Made in the USA sticker on it. And we open it up, and it comes in a nice velvet bag with some padding. And we take it out. It's not an exact copy, which this is the first one I've ever seen that wasn't just like they bought one of ours and copied it, right? So you see there are differences, but it's, it's a copy of ours. So if we look at it, it says Made in USA. The finish is okay, I opened it originally and I was like, oh wow, this isn't half bad. Here's the problem though. Oh, I wish we had bottles. We could have done like a bottle opening test, but we don't have any bottles to open. So the biggest problem here, and I'm laughing because I've done this once already, I did open this up and check it out, is this. So we use a special brass mixture that's very strong, because this is an open loop design. So it's not like an O-ring or a split ring. You don't have the support, and then you have a lot of tension from opening a bottle. So right here, there's a big stress point, and you got to use the right brass. Here's the problem with this one, right? No magic tricks. This is cool to the touch. The brass isn't the strongest. And this one wasn't inexpensive either. I think this was like $20. So yeah, and the good news is though, you can bend it right back. So basically what's going to happen over time, honestly, like this isn't taking a lot of effort to bend. So you could probably have this hooked on something, and if this catches, it could like bend as you're wearing it on your pants. Otherwise though, I will say, I appreciate how they changed the shape a little bit. This one looks a little more, I don't know, what would you say, like bohemian? Yeah. It's just like, it's more, this is like the italic version of this one. I don't mind the design. I think it looks kind of cool, but it kind of sucks that they copied it. But yeah, it is what it is. And what we do in instances like this is honestly probably nothing. It was sold on Amazon. We have a design patent, so this looks similar enough that we could probably do something, but the quality is so bad that no one's going to buy this and recommend it to people, because it just like, it's not the right kind of brass. This is way too small. This is going to snap. That's why we have ours like is nice and sturdy, and then you have the structural support of like full strength brass arcing up this way. This is going to bend or chip the minute you use it. So that's number one. There's the first review. Second one I got, and these are all like recent purchases I bought from Amazon in the US, so they're out there if you would want to go buy one. This one is a little fancier for those of you who like to bedazzle your stuff, right? So this one says Brave, and it says something John Accessories Leather, maybe? And if you're like, well, I'm not a big fan of the writing, you're in luck, because we got stars on the other side. So again, this is some sort of, I think this might be like plated brass. I don't know if that's solid brass. Actually, we could grind through it to see what it is. And then it comes with your accessories not attached to the hook. So you're going to have to get some pliers, attach this. I don't know if I would suggest it. This one's an exact copy. So this would basically be like, one cease and desist letter, and it's not able to be sold because it's identical. So if we can try the bend test again. Oh, this one's, yeah, I could probably almost do this with one hand. But this is a common issue with all the copies that we see, right? So that's like, let me see. So like one hand, you can bend it. Yeah. So you would maybe get a couple bottles open. I mean, now it's all out of whack too. Let's go actually sand this down a little bit and see what's on the inside. All right, so I ended up just grinding them all down to see we can see what's inside all of them. This is our control. This is a piece of marine grade solid brass hardware. And now a thing to remember is there are a ton of different brass alloys, right? So brass is a combination of copper and zinc, and then bronze is copper and tin. We use brass. Bronze is softer usually. But within brass, there's tons of different, so you can use different coppers, you can use different mixtures of coppers and zincs. You can use different zincs to mix with. It's all. You have to find the right brass to do a structural piece, like with the open hook. That's at least been our biggest issue in the 10 years, and we finally have our mixture, which I obviously can't share. But so we can see. There's not a ton to see, but you can see where we sanded through this piece. You see it's brass all the way through, and the interesting thing is that both of the copies are also brass all the way through. And this one is like super. Like yellow brass, which I'm assuming means I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know much about assorted mixtures. That's why I use a caster and they take care of the strength stuff for me. The thing to note though was that I held both of these, or all of these I held for the same amount of time on our little sander. And you can see that this is much more soft. It took out a lot more material in the same amount of time. As was this one. So these are the copies. And it makes sense. You know, they're using a cheaper material, which is why it costs less money, because the material is one of the most expensive parts of like making a piece. That's why like when you go to the hardware store and you want to buy a single clip, it's like $8 or $9 when it's pretty big, because it's just the material costs a lot of money in the manufacturing process. But it is interesting. We had kind of hypothesized this looks plated. Like I don't understand how they got such a, and I don't mean to insult these people, they did copy our design, but it looks like a cheap plated piece, and it is actually solid brass all the way through. So that's interesting. This one I kind of figured would be solid, it just kind of bendy, because we have gotten plenty of samples of our bottle hooks in brass that was too soft, and it does the same thing. So the big issue with these designs is that they're just not using the right material. So if you do buy one, it's not gonna last. It's just gonna bend into a bunch of random pieces. So those are the copies that you can buy. But we've also been copied a lot by brewing companies and people that make beverages in bottles. And I can't show you all of those, but we have one in that we're going to show you so we can compare that as well. So here's our V2 bottle hook. And I showed this in the video that we did, like kind of telling the whole bottle hook story. But this is a mold, so when a company copies us, we get to see all their stock in their molds to make sure they can't make them again. And an interesting thing to note is that a lot of the times, so like Blue Moon, there was like Blue Moon bottle hooks floating around for a while, and we got in contact with Blue Moon, and they were super nice about it. A lot of big companies, they don't do it themselves. They use what's called a third-party merchandiser, which are companies their job is to design trinkets and then shop for different brands to put the logos on the trinkets, right? So say I don't know if this even exists, but say there's like a Bud Light surfboard bottle opener and it says Bud Light on it. Odds are that Bud Light doesn't have an in-house design team designing that. Odds are that a sourcing person from Budweiser was at a trade show and they saw that surfboard and they were like, hey, could we buy that design and put the Bud Light logo on it? So they have no idea where the designs come from. So with Blue Moon, they immediately got back to me. They said, we're so sorry. Here's the person that actually designed it. What do you want from us? There was no lawyers involved. They were super nice about everything. And most of the time that's what happens, because when you have something that kind of gets a lot of press, people don't really understand that, you can own a design, and they're usually pretty like it's usually pretty chill. They're like, oh, sorry about that. You know, it kind of sucks we made so many, but we should have done our research. And we're like, hey, no worries. You know, this company, they were jerks, so I'm going to show it. This is their mold, and then this is what they made. So there's ours. And the interesting thing, not so much funny, is whenever you cast metal, you have shrinkage. Depending on the metal, as it cools, it gets smaller. It can get smaller from 5% to 15%, a little less, a little more. And you can tell there are a couple ways that I'm not going to get into because they're kind of in the patent on purpose so we can like prove people directly copied our design. But the whole hook is like 10% smaller than our hook. So like they very obviously got one and just shrank it down and made it their own. The interesting thing is though that they only copied half of it. And what I mean by that is that from the front it looks like a bottle hook copy, but from the back they cheaped out and it's just flat, which is an interesting design choice. So this is Blue Point Brewing, and the story, we destroyed all of them. I mean, we got, I think 20,000 units from them, and we just brought them to the metal recycling center. And a lot of the times what they'll do is they'll be like, well, can we at least try to recoup our money by by us recycling them, or, we don't want to send them to you. But when you have IP, if you don't defend it, you can lose the IP. And so you have to really kind of dig your heels in and be like, no, you're going to send me that. You're going to send me the mold. I want to make sure that I have everything that you created because that's my design and I need to protect that. And they just also weren't very nice. So, there have been a couple instances where I've been like, yeah, don't worry about it. Just send me proof that they've been destroyed, or, have a notarized thing saying that they were destroyed. You're never going to sell them again. I totally get it. With these guys, they were super mean to us the whole way through. Like it was our fault that they copied us. And so we made them send us literally everything. And then the other thing is they always try to get you to sign an NDA or something like that. Don't sign an NDA. There's literally no reason for them to be allowed to cover up that they copied you. That's on them. That's not on you. So in this instance, Blueprint Brewing, that wasn't very nice, but we took care of it. So this is an instance of not like a random Amazon seller, and I'm pretty sure this is just zinc, and it's plated literally the same color. They did the same colorways too. I think they did a copper and a brass and a silver. Just totally, it looked like, we got emails asking us if we'd made them, which is normally what companies try to do. So so that's the story of when companies actually, like big companies, I think they're owned by Budweiser, come in and try to take your product. It is possible for a two-person company to take care of that without breaking the bank if you have your patent or your IP protected. So that's just a little video we wanted to go over. You guys are awesome, and email us copies when you see them, and it allows us to kind of protect this little design that we have. I know it's not much, and I don't mean to kind of harp on it over and over and over again, but I'm just trying to share, our experiences. What do you do if you invent something and people start ripping it off? It can be expensive, but if you have a patent or you have some sort of intellectual property, it doesn't have to be, and you can be a small company that protects your design. It'll range everything from like people ripping it off and selling it on Amazon and Alibaba to, companies, the biggest players in the space that you're in, trying to copy you. But in our experience, if you roll up with your patent, any lawyer at a big company like that is going to be like, yep, that's your design, and it's not worth us spending tens of thousands of dollars to go to court to lose when we can just send you the product that we made and be done with it. We have dozens of these, but usually it ends well. So I wanted to use that as an example of like, just because someone copies you doesn't mean that the whole company is the real. It could be one person, it could be someone who didn't understand or realize they were copying a patented thing, and then it gives you the opportunity to come in and be like, well, you can buy them from us if you want. So, that's coming down the line for us as well. Other than that, this is just kind of a fun video. If you see any more copies, send them to us, or grab one if they're on a boardwalk somewhere and send them to us so we can come and test them. Maybe we'll do another video when we get a nice big pile of them. But for now, I don't know, what do you think? What's your favorite copy so far?
It's hard to choose. They're all so different. Maybe this one.
This one?
Yeah.
I feel like Gandalf would carry this one. This is like the Gandalf edition. I think I'm going to go with that one too. It's a little more creative. They at least tried to put a little spin on it.
Yeah.
So until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.